Hello and welcome to another Tech Articles. In today's article, I want to cover something I was quite surprised more people didn't know about, and that is OnlySheets. And OnlySheets is available standalone and also part of Better Sheets, and I'll go through those options in a few minutes once we get started. And natively it doesn't support flowmatic, but the purpose of this video and the supporting article is adding flowmatic support to OnlySheets and seeing what it can do. Now, I'm not going to spend a long time talking about OnlySheets. There is a good little sales page here that tells you some of the things that can be done. As you can see, it natively integrates with Zapier, which allows you to connect it to all sorts of stuff. And it's available for $30 on Gumroad. It's also available on AppSumo as well for the same price. So if you've got Plus, you'll get a 10% discount on that. But it allows you to sell your Google Docs, spreadsheets, slides, and even Drive folders and the access to them. And while you can do that for free with a public link and just sharing that link, this gives individual email access to files, which is very useful for controlling how that is shared. It doesn't stop somebody from making a copy. It's got no copy protection beyond what's already available to you in Google. But what it does is it means it's individual access. So where I've used this previously is in two ways. One is as a lead magnet, and that is the example I'm going to run through today. But equally, I've also used it for delivering workbooks to people and using the generate an individual version option. And that allows them to literally share with you a workbook that they are done. And I've used it with FlowMattic to send me a link to that workbook so that we can work on it together. I know that that they've signed up, they've got it, they've got the access, and they can now begin working. So there are more than one use case for this. And you can see here there's a whole host of information on this landing page that I'm not going to go into in general, but you can see here there's all sorts of use cases talked about and about how you can link through Zapier to everything else. Well, in our example, we're going to link to everything else through flowmatic, and that does require a few changes to the flow. So as I said, this is available for the $30 in a couple of places. Now, I got access to this for free because I'm a Better Sheets member, and Andrew, the creator of OnlySheets and Better Sheets, basically keeps creating these wonderful little Google Docs and spreadsheets and tools, and they're all part of another package called Better Sheets, and you get these things when they appear. And there's some tutorials and some codes and all sorts of other things that you get, and that's a lifetime deal. 275. I didn't pay 275 for it. Cards on the table. I bought it a very long time ago. And it's a gift that keeps on giving. So you may want to see some of the other tools that he provides and whether it's worth you paying the $275 for lifetime access to Better Sheets and his continuing array of brilliant spreadsheets. I'm not going to go into too much detail about Better Sheets setting it up or OnlySheets setting it up or anything like that. There's plenty of videos supplied by Andrew if you purchase OnlySheets. And actually, in the article on Tech Articles, I have linked to a setup Loom video here to allow you to set up your OnlySheets to work with flowmatic, and also his Loom video shows you how to set up all of it, what all the options mean. So we're not going to really cover that in much detail today. I would let the creator of that, Andrew, show you how all that works. I'm also not going to live edit the code and add in the changes. It's very simple. You open the app script and there is full instructions on how to do that here within this article, but you just need to go to your OnlySheets, navigate to extensions. I can show you how to do that, but I'm just not going to open it. So you go to extensions, app script, and then it'll load the app script, and then you make the change that's required. I'm not going to do that because there isn't a lot of app script in this sheet, and you'll see the first maybe 50 lines of code just by opening this, and I don't think that's fair to Andrew in this case. So I've published an article with as little of his code as I can, just a single function, so that you can modify it and drop in our modified function. So we are basically replacing his function with the two below here in one fell swoop, and that allows it to work with flowmatic. Now I don't mind sharing the latter function because it's mine, based on what he's doing with Zapier. So that's that. I'm quite happy to share that as an example. And I've kept the naming conventions exactly as he has throughout. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head over to our sheet, our better sheet, our only sheets, and I'm going to talk you through it as if you'd already made those changes that are in the article. So in this case, we want our processor to be flowmatic, and I've added flowmatic as per the article here. This explains to you how to add flowmatic as an option once you've added the above code, and what you need to do and how you need to do it, and that gives you this option that we've got now. So we're going to select flowmatic. We want emails to be sent, and this is how you will personalize those emails if you need to. Now, one of the things with flowmatic is you might not want to send your emails through OnlySheets. You might want to send your emails through flowmatic and include your link in it that way. Perfectly acceptable. There is no issue with that at all. You just turn email notifications off and use flowmatic's new email designer to design your emails. So I already have a document here, and it's not a very good document. In this example, we're going to use this Google Doc. You can see currently it is only shared with me, and I've put the link to that. So it's this exact link we've got here without the edit, but with the final slash. Now, Andrew covers that all in his Loom video. So again, I'm not going to go into much detail. We want to give people viewer access, not editor access. Now, in my second example that I mentioned earlier about sharing a working book with somebody and doing individual copies, then you would use editor. You give it a unique permalink, in this case, video example, because that's what we're going to use, and we'll use that later with flowmatic. I do want email notifications sent. I'm not going to use flowmatic to do that in this example, so I've put yes. And the document type. Now we've got spreadsheet, slides, document folder. In my case, it's a Google Doc, so we're going to pick document. There's no folder name. It isn't part of a bundle, and I'm not creating a unique version for each user. And if I was to use that editor access and that workbook example, it would be editor and create a unique version. So in terms of OnlySheets, we are now set up. I've made the modifications I need to make to this sheet for it to work with flowmatic, and it's now ready to accept flowmatic. I've deployed my script. My script is there as a tag to collect, i.e. I can now send webhook data to it, and we are ready to go. So I'm going to go over to the log, and currently our file wasn't shared with anyone, as we showed earlier. It is currently just available to me. Let's turn that off. So now we're going to head over to WP Automation, and we're going to create a new workflow. And in this case, I've already created a short form, and I'm going to show you that. And in this case, it's a lead magnet, so we are going to use this. So this is our lead magnet that we're going to take. So we've got a name and an email address, and really all we need is the email address. But I imagine if you're collecting leads, this is just one part of your lead build. So this is distributing that lead magnet. You are going to want the name and the email address for your Fluent CRM or wherever you're putting it there. So I've made it as real as I can, even though I plan on doing none of those other things with it. So this is the form we're going to fill out. So if we go back to our workflow builder, what we need to do is change our trigger, and our trigger in this case is going to be short form. New form submission, and we are going to select our lead magnet. And what I'm going to do to make this easier for us, I'm going to capture a response. So that's waiting for a response for our lead magnet. I'm just going to go over to this tab here, and I'm just going to put name, anything in the name, and I'm just going to put in the email so that we have something to send. I think that's a comma rather than a dot, and that is going to send that through, and that should arrive at our flow, and it has, so we've got a response now. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to use that selected response. I'm going to save and close. The next thing we need to do is connect up with OnlySheets. So to do that, we are going to use a webhook outgoing, and this is a relatively simple webhook. So we select data, submit data to webhook as our action, and now we need to get our webhook URL. Now, I haven't published my or deployed my script in this video, but if you follow Andrew's video about setting up your OnlySheets and the instructions that are in OnlySheets themselves, there are some instructions right at the front of, where is it? In front of this sheet, there's a README file telling you how to deploy your web app, etc., and how to set it up. So if you follow these two bits here in your sheet, you'll be along to do that. So I don't need to repeat myself there and make this a very long video. So we go back to our workflow. So what I'm going to do is I've already published mine, and I'm just going to paste that address in this webhook URL. So now we need to build our parameters. So first of all, I don't want a response. So the next thing we need to do is add our permalink. So what we need to do now is go back to our OnlySheets. This was our permalink video example. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to head back to our workflow. I'm going to put that as our value, and in our key, I'm going to put permalink. Now the next one is a hook type. Now there are multiple hook types supported, and you can read about those in the documentation. In this case, it's an add. We want to add a user, so I'm going to put a hook type of add. Now, the last piece of data we need to send is an email address, and that's so we can share the document. So I'm going to put email, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the form submission we got and the email address that we were collecting, and that's it. Now we have a relatively good example of this workflow. So all I'm going to do is call it OnlySheets. I'm going to publish this workflow, and I'm going to save this workflow. And now we're going to go to history. So we've now got our brand new workflow ready to go, and we have our OnlySheets ready and waiting to add to our log. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reload our lead magnet, and I'm going to put my name in here, and I'm going to copy an email address I have here where I'm logged in an incognito window, and I'm going to submit that. I'm going to head over to our OnlySheets, and you'll see there it just added a line with our email example, and you can see here my test example is already still running. So it's both sent that to two different hooks, and it's added them twice. Doesn't matter, it's just because I created this before I did this video to make sure it worked exactly as it should, and I haven't turned that one off. So we've got our additional user added to our sheet, and if we go to our example sheet that we had earlier, it should now say shared with one person, which it does. Now if we head over to my incognito window, which is here somewhere, here it is. So you now have view access to this sheet. So we have access to our document, and you can see I have access to that document now. And it tells me that the first user has been added to my sheet. And the second one does exactly the same because they were added at exactly the same time. But we now have access to our sheet as the person filling out the lead magnet, and they've had an email from us telling us that we are giving them access to that document, and this person now in their shared documents will have access to our document, and here it is. Now they only have read access, not editor access, but because that's how we set it. So I'm going to close that down. And in a nutshell, that's how OnlySheets works, and we've now made it so that it'll work with FlowMattic. Natively it doesn't, so we do have to make these changes if we want to use OnlySheets with FlowMattic. But for sharing lead magnets and getting around some of the issues that you have with individual sharing, because you can individually share a document natively, but the good thing about OnlySheets is it warns you when you're coming up to limits. It's capable of avoiding those limits for you. It's got all sorts of bonuses to some of the other ways that you might share Google Documents. And I was quite surprised recently in a post where people didn't know about it. So I thought I'd share the modification I'd made and how I got it to work with flowmatic. And yeah, that's the purpose of this video. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, please do reach out if there's anything you'd like to know. Thank you very much.